Thank you so much. Good evening. Welcome back to Tarragon Theatre, and I'm so excited that you're here to watch the incredible Mischief, a co-production between Native Earth Theatre Company, Neptune Theatre, and Tarragon Theatre. I'm so overjoyed to be able to share a conversation with you all, with the playwright and with the director. But first and foremost, I want to introduce a little bit about some of their incredible achievements. I have printed it right out of their program just so I can make sure that I get the multitudinous of their achievements. Lisa is an incredible actor and, as you'll see tonight, playwright. For the Tarragon, this is her debut, and we just had a little chat about it. Would you consider this your full-length play debut as well?
I would say, yeah.
And we'll complicate that in just a second when I mention yet another exciting thing. But for Native Earth, Lisa has also performed in Women of the Fur Trade, at the National Art Center, and at Magnus Theatre. For Neptune, other productions include Controlled Damage, Dear Rita, Billy Elliot, the musical, Powaggan Macbeth, a Powaggan Scottish play, Moose and Hawk, which is the one that I was so curious about because Lisa also wrote and directed Moose and Hawk as a commission from Rosny Theatre. Mike Payette, our formidable artistic director here at Tarragon Theatre and also the director of this production, and I believe the dramaturg since 3 years ago.
2023?
4 years ago? Yeah. So a long history in this working relationship and with this play to what you'll see tonight. Other plays you'll have seen Mike direct here is Cockroach, Come Home, The Legend of Daddy Hall, Craze, and Paint Me This House of Love, among many other works. And a fun tidbit, when Mike was back out at Neptune, a show that he did there was Oil and Water, a production with Artistic Fraud of Newfoundland. So both of our incredible artists here have worked across this country, and this special show tonight is a product of their incredible multitudinous and multidisciplinary works. To start us off, I wanted to chat about Mischief and the need for the joy and mischievousness as you work on complicating history or analyzing history. And this is a question for you, Lisa. What was the role of Mischief in the actual creative process?
Wow, yes. So, Mischief has always been such an important element for me as a person, especially as an Indigenous and Mi'kmaq person. Every day we're facing these obstacles and judgments and stereotypes and actual real grief that happens within our communities. And I grew up in communities, so I kind of had a first eye of it since I was very young. And how did we cope with that was with being mischievous and laughing, and that's such a big part of our culture, is to humor and to make each other laugh. Times are hard, we get upset, we get scared, but we also utilize that sense of humor and joy to stay happy and stay grounded and to stay resilient. So I wanted to write a play about that, and what a better way to do it through the eyes of a young woman who is searching, who is living among grief and is trying to overcome this grief. And she can get sassy, she can get fierce, she's funny, but she's really close with her family, and who are all various strings of mischievousness. And then there's the co-meeting Mischief, which is a law from Canadian government. And so I wanted to play with those two opposing meanings of words, but also kind of meaning the same thing.
Thank you, Lisa. One of the joys of having this rehearse back in Tarragon was walking down the hallways, you would hear roars of laughter coming out of this rehearsal process. And I always felt like Mischief was very much a part of even the rehearsal process. So over to you, Mike. How was it like bringing that energy of what Lisa just spoke about into your directorial process?
I think a lot of it has to do with the team you build, or the team that I was fortunate to create a sort of container for or circle with. The play is really funny. I mean, so it's very much rooted in the foundation of what Lisa's offering. It's funny, as Lisa's alluded to. There are so many things that are going on in the world, and and the sort of impact of all of those things coming together, sometimes you actually have to laugh at it. It's so ridiculous, it's so intense that our natural reaction is to be like, how ludicrous it is. And so everybody in the room, and we rehearsed in this room, everybody in the room in the rehearsal process and the folks that you're going to see on stage really understand the hilarity of the world right now, in spite of the backdrop that we're living in. And then, so there's the foundation of the play itself. And then, like I said, the team that has really come together. Everyone's just really funny. You have to sort of lean into the goofiness, so to speak, of oneself. And I think the level of respect that everyone had for each other meant that people could really let their guard down and be really, really honest in their foolishness. And when we would be embarking on like a difficult moment within the piece or within the script, we would always come back to each other and just checkpoint ourselves as, okay, we're humans first. Yes, this is a play. Yes, this is art. Yes, this is our craft and career. But we can come down to the joy that it actually, the joy that's actually there coming together to tell this story. And we really like each other too. So that helps. And so that's why, I notice, at least for myself, there's certainly a lot of, it's happening now. There's our jobs can be serious. It's so serious, and heading companies and heading plays and all that, all those great things. But even, being with Lisa and the other cast members and the rest of the team allowed me to put my guard down too. And it's what's the word? It's not addictive, but what's the word? It's infectious. Infectious. Thank you. The other thing, it's infectious when you were in a room of really, really awesome, respectful, joyful artists.
Thank you, Mike. I was so curious if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of the origin story of how this play came to be. In some interviews, it was said that you started writing it in 2018, right as the actual statue of Edward Cornwallis came down. Is that correct?
I remember in 2018 when it was coming down, I was actually living here in Toronto, and I was seeing all of the news online and on my Facebook, and my community members upset and their activism online. And I was sad I couldn't be there. I was here working as an actor, and it wasn't until the pandemic when I was able to move back home. I got myself a little apartment, and we did all of our pandemic walks that we used to do. Hopefully we still do that, maybe not in this weather. And I would see the platform where Edward Cornwallis used to stand. They still have his cement platform there. And I was like, oh right, that happened, with all the brain fog we were all going through at the time. And activism was a big thing in our society when the pandemic came to be. We were home, we were being woken up and researching and figuring it out. We were blurred of our everyday tasks, and we had this new kind of realization in front of us. So I kind of wanted to place Edward Cornwallis in a way where we learn about who he is, because a lot of people don't know who he was or what he did, or this proclamation he invented in order to assimilate and to exterminate Mi'kmaq people. And with the statue coming down, of course, you can relate it to whatever is happening in the world right now, with people kind of, having an analyzing eye on it that can be judgmental, or kind of, that, they're disrupting society by wanting to take a statue down. I was really interested in that narrative and that mindset. So how do I put that into a play? And how do I make people laugh at the same time? And how do I show who we are as Mi'kmaq people at our hearts? Because there's a lot of, stereotypes about us. We're in the news constantly, and it's all sad news. So I wanted people to see a piece of us in a good way. So yes, it started when in the pandemic I saw this, and then I wrote a little play called Moose and Hawk that was 20 minutes, and that went on with Roseney Theatre here in Toronto, and also then again later with Neptune Theatre. And it's basically about a young girl named Brooke who gets arrested for taking down the statue with a chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
And so she does that, and she gets arrested, and the whole play takes place in the interrogation room with her and another woman. And that also has elements of metaphor and dream as well. And then I was like, well, I have to write more. I have to finish this story. So that's what I did. I just wrote it by myself. I think I came back to Toronto and I started writing again just by myself. I had no money for it. I think I was bored or something. And I just wrote it in about a month, the most of it.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but then since, of course, we've worked on it, I've made rewrites and things like that. But I just kind of let it all out there in probably about a month. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Lisa. And in terms of your origin story of coming to encounter this piece, Mike, it was at the Wasaka Festival. And so this would be already draft 2 or 3 probably for you. What was your origin story of coming to this process, Mike?
So the Wasika Festival is an annual festival hosted by Native Earth Performing Arts, which is a leading Indigenous theatre company in Canada, based here in Toronto. And I think it was like the 35th or 35th or 36th year. And part of, so they present shows from various communities and across Canada, music, cabaret, but they also have a sort of workshop series of fostering new play development that culminates in this sort of stage reading. And so Lisa and I hadn't known each other at that point, although I knew who Lisa was because of her work as an actor across the country. And Joelle Peters, who's the artistic director at Native Earth Performing Arts, we didn't know each other either, but we knew each other from afar. And so Joelle was the first person who was acquainted with Lisa and Lisa's play. And they came together, and Joelle wanted to continue the development of it and give Lisa a spot as part of the Wasigachuk Festival. Part of the work also entails dramaturgy and mentorship within dramaturgy, new play development. And Joelle was like, here's this guy at Tarragon. I've heard okay things about him. Let's invite him as a dramaturgical mentor to Lisa. And really the rest is history. I was super chuffed to be invited. Deep respect for NEPA as an organization. I was like year 2 into Tarragon, into Toronto as well. And so to be given that invitation from Joelle and the company was exceptional. And then when I read the piece, I was like, there's something, at that point, this was 2023. At that point, I was like, oh, this person, this artist, this amazing person is really unpacking something that I hadn't seen in contemporary Canadian theater in a while, especially when it came to representation of a sort of a newer lens of Indigenous theater. And Lisa has already alluded to it, but I could see even in that stage that there was a reframing or almost like a reclamation, as it were, for a new chapter of Indigenous storytelling that was not, and we've chatted about this, that was not focused on trauma. Is that it's there, it's lived, it's so lived within your community and many Indigenous communities and diasporic communities as well. And I could associate a sort of link to that, told through humor and a very recognizable group of characters that really felt like family. And so Lisa and I were acquainting ourselves, and then it came down to Lisa's trust as well. Like, would Lisa be okay with me continuing a relationship, a dramaturgical relationship? And then finally, after that workshop, I remember I got COVID for the first time. So I couldn't go to the stage reading, and I was really, really bummed about it. You remember? But everybody was really, really nice about it. It was great. And then it was the companies, the artistic directors of the 3 companies that ended up coming together for this. Neptune, Jeremy Webb at Neptune Theatre, who Lisa knows very, very well. Joelle at Native Earth, and then Tarragon, and then myself at Tarragon. And we were like, this is an exceptional opportunity for the 3 of us to come together in this circle, this sort of triangle of trust, and really elevating and bringing to life this really important piece. And so that's my relationship to it. And I have to say it's been one of the most, not just, I will say restorative processes in my career because of the room, because the excitement to go to work, and an unspoken bond that I think all of the artists in the room really, really felt, and that will carry us, for a very, very long time.
Thank you, Mike. That's beautiful. While we were back there, we were having a little chat, Lisa and I, around finding this way of storytelling and writing, and your desire to have it be a beautiful read on top of a beautiful stage production. What was it like writing your first full-length play?
Oh wow, it was so fun because I've been an actor for so long since I was a kid. So I've been involved in a lot of plays and reading plays and analyzing these plays. I've done a lot of Shakespeare as well. I was at Stratford for a little bit. And so I'm a really big fan of analyzing works, but not with the lens of like correction, in a lens of, oh, this is fascinating, I wonder why. I have all these questions. And so when I finally decided to sit and write, I think I just started writing the first scene between Fisherman Fred and Brooke, and just how the rhythm that they spoke with each other, and the questions, and these two very opposite people at a cash register together. I found that so fascinating. And so once I started writing, it was I was like, oh, I get to do this now. How interesting. I'm reading everybody else's work, but now I get to invent something. And I was so excited. And I think as an actor, and being so invested when you get a part and within characters, and you grow to love them. And then I had this opportunity to love 5 characters that I wasn't even playing. So I love writing so much. I've been doing it for a long time, kind of secretly. I had diaries growing up. I wrote poems and stories, and I've been raised with a lot of stories around me as well. And so I was always listening with a thoughtful ear. And so when I finally jumped into the process and then had somebody else read it, I was like, I don't know if anybody's gonna like this. I have no idea. It was a big question mark for me. I was just excited that I got to do it, and someone like Michael Payette was reading it. So I was excited about that. That answers your question.
Thank you, yes. And absolutely, part of the beauty of a play is from that first draft towards rehearsal, the first production, and what you're seeing tonight is already after its premiere in Halifax. And so what was that process like, from first draft into the first production, and then the changes you made all the way to what our audience is going to see tonight?
Oh yeah, well, I had a really great opportunity to do this show in Halifax with this draft, and then we learned things from the audience, and we learned things from our rhythm with each other as actors. As an actor, you kind of can sense how the audience is feeling, or how they're seeing it while you're in it, when you're supposed to be focusing on what you're doing, but there's also something that is paying attention to the audience, and also paying attention to your other actors, and you're also listening to your other actors, so you're hearing how they're interpreting a piece of text. Is that piece of text landing? So it was like kind of a workshop in itself on stage as we did our first run of it in Halifax, which was really, that's a huge opportunity. But so I think we were kind of spoiled in that. And so I had these things that were popping out. I was like, oh, well, that's not quite working there. Or that's not exactly what we're trying to say in this scene, so let's arrange it. And so I would go back and kind of, Mike would say, can you make that a little funnier? Like, I know you're funnier than that. I'm like, okay. And I would try to fix it.
Was that the note?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's okay. You can give that note. Because I know I'm funny.
Yes.
Right? So, so I love our working relationship.
Yeah.
It's so solid and so trusting. And, So it was quite the gift, honestly, to have that experience and then be able to bring it to Tarragon, which I've admired for years. And as Mike knows, I talk about it a lot. I'm just so grateful to have this play land here. So, and of course, like our actors we get to work with and how excited they were and passionate about them, and they would debate about their own character and get kind of like, no, I don't think she would say this. And then we would have debates, but like also, but in a loving way. And like, you know, it was always with great listening and so it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Lisa. Similarly, the production itself, what you're going to see is, of course, the whole stage production with some exceptional design. Just give it a look and see how the design amplifies the story that we've been talking about. How did you adjust the stage production itself, either the set or any of the design elements from Neptune over to Tarragon, Mike?
So our design team, Leanne Vardy, who did our lighting design, and Maddie Batista, who did our sound and composition, as well as Andy Morrow, who did our set, costume, and video projection design. The wonderful thing about, you know, what you're going to experience is that it is grounded in some exceptional creative folks. And so and also extremely hardworking. So when we know that there's going to be 2 stops for a show or more, it really does become a challenge for the creative team. And so that's like the designers, the director mostly, to be like, how is this going to translate between the spaces? So where we played at the Scotiabank Theatre in Halifax at Neptune Theatre, it's sort of like a thrust stage. It's almost, you know, it has 3 sides, but it's not like 3 sides, you know, like a rectangle. It's, you know, it's kind of like a, like a U, but in hard sort of lines. And our main space is very much like a proscenium, you know, which means that the frame in which you are seeing it is very much almost like a letterbox, but in a much sort of grander scope. So completely different environments. Andy, again, our set designer, he, no disrespect to our lovely Neptune folks, but he designed with Tarragon in mind because he knew that if he was able to design within the Tarragon framework, Tarragon stage framework, it would translate to the Neptune versus the other way around. The adjustments that were more about, you know, I think we lost like a foot of depth downstage of the action. Not a whole lot shifted. The other technical challenge was the video design. So you're going to see, you know, we lean into the video projection here. And so Andy was with us till opening night here during the previews, making constant adjustments to the mapping because it's the distance between, say, where the projectors were versus the facade or the places where the projection surfaces were was different. So that means everything that happened in Halifax when it came to mapping, that means placing the images on the surfaces or various timings had to be adjusted. So I would say the biggest difference is actually just readjusting the projection design, but the content is the same generally, but the distance, the throw, it's all physics. The physics changed. So yeah, the other stuff, the integrity was the same, and it's really, really great that we get to keep that. Little tiny tweaks in terms of like levels of sound. That might be the other thing, because the relationship between audience and the action on stage is a little bit different.
Of course.
But it's the same design. What you folks saw in Halifax, you're going to see here, but just a different audience configuration.
Totally. And I think over a preview, Mike was shared with me that for some of these actors, it had been show number 30 something because they already had that run in Halifax. So the performances with time just deepen, as one knows. So you're in for a treat. We have to let Lisa go in just a moment because Lisa is also the star of the show to get ready for the show. But I wanted to leave with one final question and one final thought. something that this play, when I've been watching it the last few weeks, has been really making me think around is who has the right to recognize history? It's a question that feels to me so present in your play and so present in the world right now. Who has the right to recognize history? Who has the right to erase history? These are all questions that your play really illuminates for me in the great humor and mischief that it raises. So I wanted to ask you on this January 27th day, what for you is the difference between remembering history and revering history?
Sorry, what were the words?
Yeah. What is the difference between remembering history and revering history?
Oh gosh. Well, I think our first question is whose history are we talking about? I think that's always my question. You know, history is a big question in general as to what actually happened, what's going on, what happened, why are we this way now? How did we get here? You know, and we're bitter to each other, we're angry at each other, communities are suffering, we're asking for help, we're not getting help. And the history that's given to Canada, especially since I was a little girl, more so now we're starting to wake up, but it's been very, very washed away, what has happened to us as Indigenous people. And people are learning now. You could be learning in your old age, you could be learning as a teenager for the first time some of these things, what has happened to Indigenous people, what were residential schools, what was this genocide, why are women going missing every day? So that history, that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the truth. So in terms of revering that, it's you know, to live and walk in a way that speaks those truths and can kind of reclaim it. That's what this play does. That's what our relationships do with each other. People, if we are different from each other, we have a lot in common based on our own histories. And yeah, so for me, I just want everyone to do your research, read, and see a funny play that will teach you those things. You know, because we want to help. We do. You have to meet us halfway, and if we can make you laugh in the process, that's so awesome.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please join me in thanking Lisa for this time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Lisa. We're going to stay behind for just a few more moments just with Mike for a
show.
Q&A.
Okay.
But we'll make sure Lisa gets time to rest and get ready for the show.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Mike, for staying behind. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to open it up now for a few Q&A with the director. Yes.
I'd like to talk about the lighting. I think it had several impacts. First of all, it invited you in. Second, there were spaces and colors. And that's symbolic of this play and most situation. And it changed. So again, symbolic of this whole fluid piece of history. So fascinating. I found it enhanced my appreciation. We were at the preview. So
Okay, wonderful.
and absolutely loved this play. It's one of my favorite of years.
Wow.
Wow.
I will take that on behalf of everyone. Again, I had to credit a lot of this work to an exceptional design team. Again, Leanne Vardy did our lighting design for this particular production. And why, you know, I keep saying that they're amazing and why they're amazing. Yes, they're good at what they do in terms of an aesthetic, but they're also especially Leanne in this case, since we're talking about lighting, Leanne is very attuned to rhythm of story, as well as being able to play in multiple worlds simultaneously. And this will certainly make sense for those of you who are about to see it, because there is a naturalism that the play asks for, but it very quickly also asks for a completely other plane that might be less naturalistic. And for a designer to take those ideas and make them into a cohesive sort of lighting aesthetic, it's not every designer can do that. And so she was incredibly collaborative in talking with me, talking with Andy Morrow, the video designer, about creating a logic about what it is that we experience visually and through lights. So I'm glad that that was meaningful for you. And I will say the designers worked extremely hard to make that experience come true for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Any other questions? Yes, please.
I don't understand the timeline of plays.
Sure.
And this sounds even more special because it is so different than many plays. So I think Lisa said she started this in 2018.
Right.
Was when she started actually writing the play.
Right.
Right. And what happens in this 8 years? I mean, when did these things happen? When did it play in Halifax?
In August, in September
Of last year.
of last year, of 2025.
So 6 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a long time to write a good play. It might not take as long to write maybe not a good play, but in this case, to each his own. I mean, maybe, who knows?
Yes.
That's we love no shade. I'm just joking on that front. But yeah, so sometimes it takes an idea, right? And every playwright is different. Every artist is different. Every storyteller needs different things as well, right? And so in the case of Lisa had an idea. She had an idea that started really early in 2018, and then it sort of crystallized a little bit more in as she said, a 20-minute version of it for young people. And then she continued that from the pandemic, like 2020, 21. And then she realized, okay, it was asking her to do more. It was asking her to go deeper. And then it took a supporter in Native Earth Performing Arts to encourage her to keep going and to give her resources to deepen an idea, right? And so that being in 2023. And then it took somebody else to be invited into that process to support that development, so that she wasn't in isolation, that she had somebody to bounce off of. And that bouncing back and forth was about 2 years. And that was certainly myself, that was Joelle, that was other collaborators. Tarragon also did a workshop of this piece sometime in 2024, a year later. So we wanted to continue supporting the Playwright because we thought the story was really interesting. And then skip ahead 7 years, and finally it gets its premiere. But sometimes it takes that idea. I mean, Jeff Ho is an astounding playwright as well, who has had many, many accolades, but has his own individual process as well. And you should ask him. Not every project is going to require the same amount of time and development. And so it really depends, again, on the playwright, but it also depends on what that playwright's relationship is to new play development. Jeff has been doing this for many, many years. Lisa is a little bit newer into the process of creating plays, right? And then finally, sometimes you just need the right people at the right time coming together to uplift a play before it actually makes its premiere. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, my friend. It's a one-size-fits-one, but we're really, really, really chuffed that even though it took 7-8 years, here we are.
And the playwrights, many playwrights, most I expect, they have jobs. I mean, they're acting in other plays and so
Yeah.
on. That's a mental thing that
Yeah.
somewhat takes you somewhat away from maybe the play you're trying
Maybe.
to create. You don't have all day every day to work on it.
I mean, I'm sure some writers do, and some writers would love to just do one thing. But yes, I mean, certainly the reality is that many playwrights do many things, or I would say many artists have many hats within the industry as well. But yeah, time, resources, support. In order for stories to happen, there are many people who have ideas, but those ideas will only get so far. What you need is the container to have those ideas really flourish. That's in Lisa's work. That's in the Greenhouse Festival. That's also happening this week, of ideas needing a container to actually flourish, to go on to their next phase of development.
Well,
Yeah. It's fascinating, eh?
Yeah.
We love it. I mean, it's what we do. Yeah.
thank you so much, both, and thank you, Mike. Any final questions? Well, thank you so much. Enjoy Mischief tonight, and please to come back and visit for our Greenhouse Festival this week, and Queen Maeve, upcoming, also directed Mike Payette. Judith Thompson's return to the Tarragon after 12
More than that,
seasons,
like,
more
yeah,
than-
yeah. I think Claire is 12 years, but Judith, it's been like 20 years
Wow.
since she's been here.
It's going to be an astonishing production as well, so please do come back, and can't wait to see you at the next Tarragon talk for that.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you so much.